presented by the experts at TireRack.com and is brought to you by Coca-Cola, Under Armour, Canon, Gatorade, Gordon Food Service, St. Joseph Health System, South Bend Orthopedic, Vivid Seats, and by West Bend Insurance. Also brought to you by Eddy Street Commons at Notre Dame and Gulfstream Coach. Now, here's the Brian Kelly Show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Brian Kelly Show, live from the Irish Athletics Center. I'm Jack Nolan, joined once again by the head coach of the Fighting Irish. Watch your practice today, a very effective practice. How much did your guys take? And I got to be honest with you, that was one of the most dramatic victories in as pressure-packed a situation when you add everything together, coming off a tough loss, the way your defense had been battling, an offense that was moving the ball, but it seemed everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and you get it back knowing you got to win, and then you come up with that incredible 18-play drive. You punch it in, you win in the final minute. Obviously, they had to have some effect. What did you see on this practice field and those practice fields this week from that game residually?
Well, I think, first of all, you gain a lot of confidence, certainly from the offensive side of the ball. The ability to win close games is always something that you want your group and unit to carry with them, that they believe that they're going to win. So confidence certainly is one thing. I think defensively, probably just the understanding that if they prepare the right way and there's a physicality to the way that they prepare, they're going to carry that over. And I think they saw that this week, and that again, I think the way we practiced this week was as physical as we've practiced all year. Matter of fact, we were looking at some of the numbers in terms of, our GPS comparisons, and they were equal to, if not above, some of our practices during the summer. So they clearly understand that they prepare in a manner that they play. So each team is different. I've had some teams that you have to take the pads off them and almost kind of go through glorified walkthroughs at this time of the season. This team needs to practice really hard. I mean, and that's just their who they are, and they play better when they prepare this way. And so they asked me in our captain's meeting, Coach, keep it on us, keep pushing us. We want to practice at this level because we believe this helps us prepare the right way. So that's what we did this week.
We have a lot of offensive plays queued up that we're going to break down for the audience here and watching around the country. But I want to stay on defense for a little bit. The way they came out, 4 3-and-outs to really allow the offense to work through some things. And this year, you really seem to, in conjunction with Clark League and the defensive staff, you're coming up with more game-specific defensive schemes that give the opposition very different looks. You did it again with Virginia Tech. And the defense really, that's not easy for a defense each week to change as much as they are, and they seem to be executing that well.
Yeah, I thought that they've adapted quite well to different game plans. And, again, I think we talked about this last week, that we could probably see 3 different quarterbacks. And, we saw probably the guy start that we were least likely in our eyes.
I think everybody was surprised by Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and so we had to be prepared for Patterson and a physical runner, and we took that away. And once you're taking away something that they wanted to do, and that was to play physical, to run the quarterback, that really put them in a situation where they had to throw the football. And we knew it, and we knew where they wanted to go with the football, and we made the appropriate adjustments.
Now, fans have a tendency to notice corners the most when they give up a play.
Sure.
But you knew with your scheme that you were going to leave your 2 starting corners on an island for most of the game, and they did give up a play or two, but for the most part, they really performed. Yeah,
there's a great play by Dante Vaughn right there in man coverage. We moved them around. At certain areas of the field, we had Dante Vaughn shadow Hazelton because of the size. But Troy Pride obviously got a lot of targets as well, and he had more PBUs than he's had at any time during the season. So give both those guys credit. They were challenged. They stood up to the challenge. Certainly they made some plays against them, but if you're in a game like that where you're going to be targeted in a lot of one-on-ones, and you make the plays necessary to keep them where they were offensively, that's a pretty good day, and I thought they did a nice job.
Ian Book was aggressive throwing the ball downfield last week as all season. He ends up with 341 passing yards, did throw a couple picks, couple of TDs. He also was your leading rusher. How did he execute the game plan you had for him?
Well, I thought he executed it to a level that I think he feels comfortable that he can do better, and he can make it easier on himself. Certainly, the turnovers are areas that he wants to get better at. But again, look, he made a lot of plays for us, and enough plays for us to win the football game. And 35 snaps in the last two series, I think, is most indicative of what he's capable of. And we've just got to have that in more consistent fashion. I think he was under, a lot of pressure going into the game, and I think he came out on the other end of this, and he's going to be better for it. And I think you're going to see somebody that really is able to, use this as a launching pad for him moving forward.
Just showed the folks watching the winning touchdown there. Just talk about the play and the decisions he made and how he made them.
Yeah, so they had played a combination coverage down here, some man coverage and some zone coverage, and we wanted a play that gave him the option for either or, and he checked into the right play there. It was a nice combination that was given at the line of scrimmage by Coach Long, and Ian got us into the right play based upon what the coverage was. They were going to play some zone coverage there and double up some of the receivers, and gave him a great opportunity to run.
And he really ran that last drive to perfection. 2 fourth-down conversions. Had a lot of help. Everybody did their job on that drive. You've got signs around the Goog, ignore the noise, but let's be honest. You're tempered tough. You're used to the noise. You can shrug it off. 18 to 22-year-olds, it's hard to shrug that noise off. So the whole team went in kind of tense last week, but as the game went on, they seemed to shed that a little bit.
Yeah, I think you have to go play. It is what it is. It's, a very, it's bright lights here at Notre Dame, and they know that coming in too. So, I mean, for them not to expect it is unrealistic. So, in one respect, that's what you get at Notre Dame. You're going to get that, and there's a lot. Believe me, the other way is nobody cares, and nobody wants to be at that program either. So, with that comes a lot of responsibility, and they navigated through the most difficult one that they're going to have to navigate. The rest of it now is go out and play, and each and every week is a different challenge. This one is another challenge against Duke, but it's certainly not the challenge that they had with all the other things swirling around. But again, that's the nature of it when you have a program that is high profile like Notre Dame. It comes with the territory.
That highlight package we just showed the audience included the 2 touchdown passes to your tight ends. You were able to get both Komet and Tommy Tremble involved, and they're both playing very well right now.
Yeah, they sure are. We've got to continue to rely on them because they give us the opportunity to, jump into some really favorable looks in terms of the running game as well. So with 2 accomplished pass catchers that they are, in particular, Cole, I mean, he just is a matchup nightmare for anybody in college football. We have to continue to feature both of them, and you can see, that's a pretty easy touchdown pass when you have a guy like that on the field for you. So you can imagine that this is a direction that will continue to move.
Part of your job as being a teacher, you were teaching some folks on the field again today, individually, one-on-one. So you've got to be pleased with the development of Chase Claypool from a guy who had trouble getting on the field to a guy who right now is not only a go-to guy, but a guy who's matured to the point where he will do whatever he has to do both to get to the ball, and I don't know if there's anybody better in college football getting a toe down on the sideline.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, and look, I mean, if we just put up a reel of his, control catches along the sideline, they're as good as they get. And but what separates him is his ultra competitiveness. He is so competitive, a guy that wants the football, and then his yards after the catch. It's look, I mean, I don't know that if you put on a film and you're a defensive back, whether you really, really are interested in tackling this guy because of his. Now this guy 3 tackled him to start the game, and they forgot to throw the flag on him. But other than that, I mean, it's just a testament to his will and desire that when he catches the football that he doesn't want to go down.
One of the factors each season that is somewhat out of your control is the injury rate. Last year, you were very healthy.
Yeah.
You ended up going 12-0.
Yeah.
That has not been the case this year.
Yep.
You have yet to have your 1 and 2 running backs healthy for an entire game. It looks like, based on practice this week, you will have, but you don't have the right side of your offensive line. And I have the luxury of going to practice. I see how much work, how many reps they do. The guys who start are the guys who perform the best in practice. You're without Tommy Kramer now. You're without Robert Hainsey. Trevor Rulin and Josh Lugg are really stepping up, but they have farther to go. Otherwise, they would have been the starters.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it'd be nice to have those guys, and you lose a captain and one of your stalwarts, and Tommy Kramer, outstanding player, to your starters. But it's nice to have a Josh Lugg, who's 6'7", 305 pounds, coming off the bench. I mean, he's a really good player. He was, probably just a click away from being a starter. So to be able to plug in a guy like that is, we're really fortunate to be able to do that. And Trevor Rulin played a lot of football for us last year. So another guy that you can plug in and play, and we don't have to, walk around the building going, woe is me. Yeah, we have some. Those are key injuries, there's no doubt, but these are two really good players that can step in, and we can still continue to run and play at a high level.
Loving the school, loving your teammates is so important. I know Trevor kind of regaled the media after the game with his litany of various physical maladies that he suffered while he's here. We need to he's been through a lot, but he's also on the field because he can play. We don't want anybody to think that, he's some kind of miracle worker out there, but he's had to fight through and rehab to the point where he can play because he likes it so much. It's more about the amount of work he's had to do to bounce back from all these injuries.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been a lot, and there were times, and I think we talked about this a little bit, there's been times where we didn't know if he could make it back, and I think he even surprised some of our medical staff and his ability to find a way to do it. And so we have to consequently be careful with him in terms of how much work we give him. So you're going to see Dylan Gibbons play a little bit and get a chance to be in there, and I think that's important that we keep him fresh and able to play the rest of this month and hopefully further. And again, I think that's just being smart based upon where he's come from.
Tony Jones, Jafar Armstrong, how'd they look this week? How are they?
Really good. I mean, Tony Jones got fresh legs. It's always good in November when your running backs are starting, to run very well. And both of those guys are moving well for different reasons. Tony had the week off because of the upper body injury. And then Jafar obviously is just starting to kind of round into what you would consider, game readiness. So to have both those guys is really good.
Other than that, pretty good shape. I know Lamb's going to miss the game, but beyond that, anybody else?
No, I think everybody else should answer the bell. And I think from this standpoint, you go into November, obviously losing a couple of offensive linemen can obviously hurt, but as I mentioned, having two guys like that step in. Now, it stresses you, one more injury, and now you've kind of put your finger.
Your margin for error has shrunk.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think the next guy in is experienced as the two guys that we have. Though you could argue that Josh doesn't have a lot of experience, but we've seen a lot of him, and he's been in the program for quite a period of time. So I think there's a bank of trust that's been built there. But now you're at Gibbons, and you're at Dirksen, who's a youngster. You're starting to get young there, and that's where you got to hope that things kind of quiet down there on the injury front.
Okay, lots of questions have been submitted for the coach, and we'll start to get to those questions right after this timeout. You are watching and listening the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com.
We know you like football. So do we. We're TireRack.com, and this is our version of a 2-minute drill, except it's only 30 seconds. TireRack.com has an enormous selection of tires. Not sure which ones to buy? Use our Tire Decision Guide to find the right tires for your vehicle and the way you drive. Then get them shipped fast and free on all orders over $50. Shipping is in as little as 1 day. Free. TireRack.com ships to independent, recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Touchdown!
There may be times when buying any old insurance will do. But when you have people depending on you, when you have something that you simply cannot afford to lose, when you actually have to take them up on that promise to make everything right again, well, there's a kind of insurance you buy for that too. West Bend, because the worst brings out our best. Ask your independent insurance agent about getting a Westband policy for the things you can't afford to lose.
At St. Joseph Health System, every hand held, every story told, every tear shed, smile shared, and spirit lifted stays in our hearts forever. We're blessed because every day we get to make a difference in people's lives. To learn more, visit sjmed.com. St. Joseph Health System. We are called to care for you.
Fighting Irish fans, don't miss your chance to experience the action live with tickets from Vivid Seats, the official ticket marketplace of the Fighting Irish. Visit vividseats.com/UND today to buy and sell tickets to any event. Home games, on the road, even sold-out games, no problem. And every transaction is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee. Vivid Seats lets you see more and sit closer all season long. Support the Fighting Irish with tickets from the official ticket marketplace, Vivid Seats. Available now at vividseats.com/UND. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. Folks, it's pretty obvious. The 80-degree football game days are long gone. So it's time to start thinking about tires. Winter tires. Our friends at TireRack.com, presenting sponsors of the Brian Kelly Show, have what's right for you. Headquartered just a few minutes from Notre Dame Stadium, their experts know a thing or two about driving through winter's worst. And when they're not driving in it, they're on their test track or maneuvering around on the ice at a local hockey rink for winter tire testing. Also, you can get your tires right, TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. And once again, we should acknowledge some of the Delta flight crew is here. They couldn't all get here, but 4 of them are here, and they told me they got a big wide-body jet tomorrow.
Yeah, so big wide body. Each week we have SWAT teams, and they get different. They win points each week, and so we try to take care of the winners each week with different things. We get creative. For example, they'll get a training room fast pass. In other words, they can use this pass to cut in line in the training room. Or they may get a gift certificate or something like that. This week, the winning team got their own seat on the plane. So they get no players sitting next to them. So it was a big deal to get in what we called elite seating.
Elite seating.
Yes. So none of them knew what elite seating was until we explained it to them. But part of it was because in the contract we had the big plane. So it's about selling it.
Yes, I know that.
So we sold it pretty good.
Time now for our questions, and each week one lucky question submitter actually wins tickets to the show. And this week, the winner is Kevin DeCrane of South Bend. And Kevin is out there behind the lights right there. Kevin, thank you very much. Here's his question, Coach. National TV always shows shots of the 2 head coaches talking in pregame. On a typical week, how much time do you actually spend talking to the opposing head coach or possibly their assistants? If so, is it on game day, the week of the game, or when?
No, we don't talk at all. Obviously we're preparing against each other. Some of the assistants will talk because they might have been on the same staff or knew each other or, have acquaintances. So that's typical in pregame. But head coaches just, it's usually the cursory. You guys are doing a great job, and I really like the way your team's playing, and, good luck and that kind of stuff. But that's really about it. And sometimes, I've been doing this going on 30 years. Sometimes the head coach doesn't even come up, because he's, staying with his team or was superstitious, doesn't want to talk to him. So sometimes I won't even talk to the other head coach until the end of the game after I beat him. Good question.
Andy Herculo of Scotch Plains, New Jersey, sent in this question. Coach, on Saturday against Virginia Tech, we ran a 2-back offense. I believe it was Avery Davis and Jafar Armstrong for a few plays. Will we see more of this?
Yeah, we've been featuring it. They don't necessarily stay in the backfield together at the same time. One of them is split out at a wide receiver position. So, we'll continue to feature it. It's part of what we do. It gives us, again, the versatility, as I mentioned earlier, about having 2 tight ends, the ability to use Avery and you mentioned, having Jafar and Tony back for the first time healthy gives us that opportunity for the first time going into, the 9th week of the season. You could see more of that. So yes, you will see more of it.
As you well know, Notre Dame opens the season in Dublin next year. The NFL is playing in London and Mexico City this year, so it's not really a surprise that Gabriel Fonseca has sent us a question all the way from Joa Pessoa, Brazil.
Ah, yes.
And Gabriel's question is, Coach, what do you think about the increasing popularity of American football around the world?
Well, I know the NFL is trying to, build that, into London, England, obviously, as a main place of destination for them. College football, I think, still has a ways to go, in terms of nationally. But I think there's just such great support for the game here in the States that I think it'll continue to have the recognition. But I like the occasional games overseas. I think it's great for our fan base. We obviously have a strong base, Notre Dame base in Ireland. I think you'll continue to see that. But whether we open up in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the near future, I don't know that that's going to happen.
I know there was some talk a few years ago about playing a game in Beijing, but just the logistics could never be pulled off.
Well, I think the logistics would be very difficult because you would need, obviously some time before and after. So, we'll see what happens. I haven't seen that schedule yet, and if it gets scheduled, I won't be around for it.
Dan Novak would like to know, if two players have equal athletic abilities, what are the deciding factors that separate one from the other?
Well, I think the game requires an instinct like all other games. Some have a natural instinct to play the game. Just that innate ability to understand the game and have a good feel for the game. I think there are other things like desire and intense competitive demeanor. Those things that you can't teach, that are much more intrinsic. Those are the things that you're looking for when you have two guys of equal athletic ability.
Ron Raffaganoni is wondering, what is the best way, Coach, to use your timeouts in a game?
Well, I think you would break it down first half and second half. I think in the first half, critical scoring situations are generally, in using first half timeouts. Second half is game management relative to winning the game. So they're much more important in the second half, and I don't let anybody use them in the second half. They all have to go through me in the second half. If a defensive coach or a special teams coach needs a timeout in the first half, I won't question it, and that could be because of an alignment situation that they want a timeout, or special teams. I'll use one in the first half, but in the second half they all have to run through me because they go to the management of winning a football game.
Luke Sullivan would like to know, which offense is better for little kids to learn when they are just starting to play football? The pro set, split backs, or an I formation?
I don't know that the scheme is as important as the fundamentals, in terms of understanding the game, proper tackling, carrying the football. I think we get caught up too much in the scheme itself. It's really about the individual and the proper techniques and the fundamentals of the game. I think once you teach those, all those schemes are effective, and then you let that kind of take its course based upon, different high schools have a system that's already in play, and you probably want to work through that system as you go into that high school instead of thinking about, well, I want to be in this offense or that offense. I think focusing on fundamentals is much more important than any particular scheme.
There are actually a number of schools in this area. Penn's one, I think St. Joe, Marion with the feeder Catholic schools. Mm-hmm. They actually play the offense that they play in the high school at the middle school level, so when they get to high school they know what the scheme's going to be.
Yeah, and look, I get it, right? You want to get into high school and You want to be in a position where you can utilize, quote unquote, your talents. But, I think I've been doing this a long time. If you're talented, it doesn't matter what scheme you're in. They're going to find you.
All right, we have more questions for the coach, and we'll get to those right after this timeout. It's the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com.
Pain or no pain, your wisdom teeth should be checked every year. Some wisdom teeth can become impacted, which can lead to cysts, tooth decay, and gum disease. Wisdom teeth can cause crowding, painfully damaging adjacent teeth. Not all wisdom teeth need to be removed, but they all do need to be monitored by an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. Find a surgeon near you for a complete examination at myoms.org.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
When someone hears the words, "You have cancer," it's one of the darkest moments in their life. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer by uniting survivors, patients, and supporters in the cause to end cancer. Friends, families, and coworkers form a community of hope, raising funds in support of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Together, we walk with lanterns held high to light the path to cures. Last year alone, the FDA approved 18 new drug therapies and treatments to treat blood cancers. The impact of LLS-supported research goes beyond blood cancer. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. When we walk, cancer runs. Join the movement to end cancer today. Visit us at lightthenight.org.
I can't believe he found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What, did he balance on that big chair?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com. More questions for the coach here. Matthew Balkin of Coloma, Michigan is wondering how you feel about the rest of this year's schedule.
Well, it's going to be the Science Olympiad. I mean, it's going to be GPA versus GPA. We're not going to talk about football. We're going to bring out our diplomas. No, I mean, Duke is. This is a really good football team. I mean, their defensive line is one of the better defensive lines we're going to see. Do a really good job defensively. Obviously, when you talk about offense, they can do a lot of different things. Great diversity on the offensive side of the ball. Then next week, Navy is playing their best football, probably in the last 3 or 4 years. And what people don't know, well, maybe they do, but really where the big uptick is on defense. I mean, they're outstanding. They've changed their scheme. They used to be a bed but don't break defense. Now they're an aggressive, attacking defense, which is not what they have been doing in years past. They have been kind of, trying to keep things in front of them and, not give up big plays. Now they're aggressive and have done a great job defensively. BC is scoring a ton of points.
Very physical.
We know about Dillon. We know about the ability to run the football. They've given up some points, obviously, but offensively, I think they rank in the top 5 in the country in terms of what they're doing. And then Stanford. I have, I've been unsuccessful in beating them at Stanford. So, this is there's a lot of games to look at, and each one of them presents, as I mentioned earlier, different challenges, but enough for our guys to understand how each one of them is so important.
James Owens has sent in a question from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's wondering, what's going through your mind when things do not go as planned during a game?
What's going through my mind? How do we fix it? What can we do to stem the tide? What do we need to do to get the momentum back on our side? Just again, the game is one that is about momentum and trying to gain that back in some fashion. That's really trying to figure out a way to get that back in your favor. Is it a matchup? Is it a play call? Is it any one of those things? It's not like basketball where you can call a timeout and bring the guys over and say, all right, settle down. They're on a run. We're fine. You can't do that. You got to try to find other ways to do it, and just trying to sort that out.
Ken Barber would like to know how you would rate the overall team speed of this year's Notre Dame roster.
Overall team speed, I would say above average in terms of nationally. Not elite. It needs to get better. We need to continue to recruit to that level. But we were below average when I first got here. We probably stayed in that below average to average, and now we're above the average in terms of team speed.
And we do get a lot of questions, folks who are listening or watching, about specific recruits who are coming in. It's against NCAA rules until they've actually signed the letter of intent for a coach, or quite honestly even me, to mention people specifically. But you do have a bunch of elite, very fast athletes coming in your future classes.
Well, again, I think we've had some elite players. Will Fuller, I think, was elite. We've had some elite players in terms of speed, but when you're talking about the entire football team, you're looking at both your offense and defense across the board in all positions. And so that's an area that needs to continue to get better and continue to grow. And quite frankly, when we got here, it was, the defensive line is not, a defensive line of, national caliber. I think we've upgraded that to the level. We certainly know where our offensive line is. We got to continue to work on the speed to get it, from good to great.
And you've got a terrific strength and conditioning program. Can you, through that program, make players faster?
Oh, no doubt. There has to be some player development along the way as well. And so not everything is going to be ready-made, where every player that you recruit in your class just walks out on the field is ready-made. And so, no doubt that your strength and conditioning program is going to assist in that. But recruiting is certainly going to play a major role in this as well.
This is your 29th year as a collegiate head coach, 16th at the FBS level, and Cody Sears of Bremen would like to know, what is some of the best advice you've been given by other coaches in regards to longevity in your profession?
Longevity? Win.
Pretty simple,
that
huh?
usually helps. That keeps you employed. I think the longevity part is, control what you can control. There are some things out of your control. And I've always felt like if you do a really good job and have an attention to detail with the preparation part, then good things are going to end up happening to you along the way. Now you're going to have the occasional bad days, but you're going to have many more good days along the way. So I just think intense focus and preparation and getting your guys ready to play, both physically, mentally, tactically and technically, and I think if you do a really good job there, you're putting yourself in a position for success. It doesn't guarantee it. Nothing does when you play this game. So many other things can happen, but it puts you in a good position.
You're, as a head coach, you're on a treadmill all year round, and during the season, it's going 1,000 miles an hour. Now, another great coach, Mike Krzyzewski, actually physically broke down with the way he drove himself, and he made adjustments. Just being around you for your entire tenure here, it appears that you have learned some things about how to deal with everything that's involved in the head coaching job at Notre Dame, so that maybe it takes a little bit lesser toll on you, or learn what things to worry about and what things just not to.
No, I think so. I think when you get here, there's so much that you want to do, and I think that you want to say yes to virtually everything and try to do as many things. And I still try to say yes to everything. I sign everything. I don't think I've ever used anything but my signature on everything. I think authenticity in the position is absolutely crucial because you're still an ambassador of the university. But I think there are times where you have to have time for yourself and your family, and you got to make time for it. And if you don't, then you'll certainly burn out in this position. I feel pretty good. I think I can probably go another 20 minutes or so. How much left in the show?
Luckily, we have about 12, so
12
we're not
minutes.
going to completely exhaust, at least of your part.
I can go another 12 minutes.
Because you taped the interview with Manti. We'll be getting to in a little bit.
Perfect.
But, we're going to get to that in a bit.
I think it's making the most important things a priority, and then understanding that you can't get to everything. The most important thing for me is what's your why. I think that's what I figured out. I do it because I want to be around our players, and I want to see them grow, and I want to see them develop. And when you figure that out, then I think it takes a lot of the other things away from you in terms of the day-to-day kind of grind, if you will.
Our last question is from Tom Hensler. It's appropriate for this week because you're playing another night game, and having had the opportunity to travel with you, they are a little more taxing, especially when you're on the road. He would like to know that with all the night games on Notre Dame's schedule, have you considered having practices in the evenings the week before those games?
Yeah, it's difficult with our schedule because if we start to do night practices, we get into changing their schedule up a little bit, and it really doesn't help the team that much. It really, where it taxes us is on the back end. We don't get back here until 3 a.m. Sometimes 4 a.m. and that's the taxing part. So it's really about trying to give them some time off before we get back with them.
It's the game the next week.
Exactly. And so that's where you really have to understand the length and breadth of the schedule and how the night games really affect them on the back end of it. So it's not really about acclimating to a 7:30 start as much as it is coming back at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Coach touched a little bit on Duke. We will dive fully into the Blue Devils right after this timeout. The Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com.
A lot of banking apps let you do the same things, like check your balance in your PJs, deposit checks during your workout, and transfer funds from, anywhere. But because we're a trusted bank in the neighborhood, the First Source app comes with a walk-in option, so you can talk face-to-face, not just face-to-phone. First Source Bank.
Member FDIC. Download the First Source app on the App Store or Google Play.
Is life throwing you hard knocks?
Okay, it's time to go to work.
You may be injured or just worn down. Whether it's Notre Dame football, work, or just everyday life, South Bend Orthopedics believes everyone should be treated as if they are on the same team. Schedule an appointment with South Bend Orthopedics today. Call 574-247-9441. Let us get you back in the game.
It doesn't take a focus group to name a Papa John's pizza with 5 of our best meats. Just take a ginormous bite and blurt out the first thing you think of. Meats! With an S. Meats, plural. Used in a sentence, it would be like, holy cow, that's a lot of meats. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go enjoy the meats of my labor. Try large meats or works for just $12, only at Papa John's. Not valid with other discounts. Fees and taxes extra. Prices may vary.
True fans know that game day begins with tailgate, so become a member of the Tailgating Zone from Gordon Food Service Store this season to get exclusive discounts on items that every tailgate menu needs and a chance to win Notre Dame football tickets. All you have to do is text GFS to 55678 to sign up. You even get a free thermal tote bag just for signing up. Again, text GFS to 55678 so you don't miss out on these exclusive discounts. Gordon Food Service Store is the official tailgating partner of Notre Dame Athletics.
Fighting Irish playing at Duke this weekend. We're told it's a sellout. Stadium only holds 40,004, so if you don't have tickets, you're listening down there. You can experience the action live with tickets from Vivid Seats, official ticket marketplace of the Fighting Irish. Download the new Vivid Seats app to start earning credit back on all your app purchases. Don't just get any seat, get a Vivid seat. And when Notre Dame football goes on the road, it is always an event. And in this case, Notre Dame has not played in Durham since 1961, so you know people will be very excited. It will be a spectacle once again, in addition to the competition they provide for you on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. And David Cutcliffe, obviously we know about the way he has coached this football team. And, you know, offensively he creates so many different, opportunities for his offense, and in particular, a quarterback that is gaining experience each and every week. So this will be a really good test. As I mentioned, outstanding defensive line, and we will be challenged by this group. You just watch the way they played the first half against Alabama. Physically, they matched up very well. Where they struggled was the great speed at wide receiver that Alabama had, and everybody struggles with the great speed that they had it. But up front, they handled themselves very well against Alabama, and at times, won the line of scrimmage. So this will be a great challenge for us.
Duke is 4-4. They're 2-3 in the ACC. They've lost 2 in a row, 48-14 at a good Virginia team. Notre Dame fans know how good Virginia is. Yeah. They lost a heartbreaker when I think they were on the 1 or 2 yard line. And called a trick play and got intercepted in the end zone. They lost 2017 at North Carolina. But if you want a comparison, they beat the Virginia Tech team on the road that you beat by 1. They beat them 45-10. And, gee, surprise, they've had an extra week to get ready for you.
Yeah, how about that?
7 Notre Dame opponents have that extra week this year.
Yeah, well,
it is what it is.
Yeah, well, maybe they prepared the way I prepared our team for the bye week. We can only hope, right? Look, here's the deal, right? I mean, we know what kind of football team they're going to be. I mean, they're going to come out. It's a sellout. Our guys know clearly that they're going to have to play well against a team that is excited about playing Notre Dame in a sold-out stadium. So they've had this game marked. Again, we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to execute well and, make some plays against a really good group. Defensively, I like the way our guys are playing. I think we've got a really good plan against them. We're going to have to hold up on the perimeter because they're going to take some shots. But I think we've got some good things. And then when we get our chances offensively, and we will get some chances, we're going to have to make some plays as well down the field.
Well, I was down in the Raleigh area last night with that other team I follow, and the weather was wonderful. But all the weather forecasts, they're all worried it's going to be really cold for them on Saturday, close to freezing. So that's Notre Dame football weather, isn't it?
That's a heat wave for us. We'll take anything over 32 degrees.
All right, each week now you get the opportunity to catch up with a former player, and this week, the most decorated player of your tenure here, you got to chat with Manti Te'o.
Yeah, it was awesome to catch up with Manti. He's doing well. He's not in the game right now, but he is training. He's had a number of injuries, trying to get back. He's overcome shoulder injuries, overcome an Achilles tendon injury. But as we would expect, he is working hard, and he is slumming it in San Diego. He's done quite well. He's diversified his portfolio. He owns some real estate holdings in the San Diego area, both in commercial and some private real estate, as well as he's got a fleet of vehicles in the Texas oil industry. So Manti is, as we know, very sharp and a very shrewd businessman. So he's doing quite well, but he's anxious to maybe give it one more shot in the NFL, and we're certainly pulling for him. I reminded him about one instance of football instance that I thought, in my mind, still stands out as maybe one of the best performances that I can remember of a linebacker, and that was our game against Oklahoma, where he just was all over the field, and as a linebacker in coverage in particular. Most of the times you think of a linebacker downhill making plays, but he was all over the place. He had a couple interceptions, deflections, and remember talking to Bob Stoops after the game, and he said that guy should get the Heisman for that performance, and he almost did.
He almost did.
He almost did.
He almost did.
It was pretty cool.
He is also, all the guys you've talked to this year are playing right now.
Yeah.
And he still wants to play and certainly capable of it, but he is the first player you've talked to on this show this year who embodies the 40-year decision aspect of coming to Notre Dame and how he's put many of the things he learned in class here already to work for the rest of his life.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he'd always had an eye towards that. Even when he came back a couple of times, he had already been thinking about what it was going to be like after football. So just a smart young man, and one that got Notre Dame. I mean, he had the big recruiting decision between USC and Notre Dame, and he recognized how important it was for him to come to Notre Dame, and a captain for us, and it was just great catching up.
And came here even though he came in shorts and flip-flops on a day it was snowing, and he still came here anyway.
He sure did.
He sure did. So, Coach's Conversation with Manti Te'o is coming up here on the Brian Kelly Show right after this quick timeout.
Eddy Street Commons at Notre Dame invites you to dine, shop, enjoy. Just south of campus, Eddy Street Commons has specialty shops like Urban Outfitters, Nicholas J. Salon, Kilwin's Chocolates, and Hammis Bookstore. If you're looking for a delicious dining destination, consider one of Eddy Street's many eateries like O'Rourke's Public House, Bar Beachy, Brothers Bar and Grill, and Livery. That's Eddy Street Commons at Notre Dame. Be sure to follow them on Facebook. For details on upcoming events and special offers, visit eddycommons.com.
A vehicle is stolen once every 40 seconds in the United States. The cost adds up to over $6 billion a year. But there are steps you can take to help put the brakes on vehicle theft. Roll up the windows completely. Don't leave valuables in the car. Take the keys or the fob with you. Lock the doors. If you have information on vehicle theft, contact the NICB. Reach us at 1-800-TEL-NICB or visit www.nicb.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
You may be one of the 1 in 26 Americans who will develop epilepsy in their lifetime. To help the millions of people who experience their first seizure each year and the physicians who care for them, the American Academy of Neurology and the American Epilepsy Society have released a new guideline on how to treat a first seizure. It shows there is strong evidence that for adults who have had a first seizure, the risk of another seizure is greatest within the first 2 years. The risk ranges from about a 1 in 5 chance to nearly a 1 in 2 chance. But the guideline also found that taking epilepsy drugs immediately after a first seizure may reduce the risk of having another seizure. If you have had a first seizure, it is important that you talk with your neurologist and have a meaningful conversation so that your individual circumstances, balance of risks and benefits, and personal preferences are understood and accounted for before starting any treatment. To learn more about epilepsy, visit AAN.com. That's AAN.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy, I've been fascinated with animals, especially their tireless work ethic. Just look at birds who gather supplies to build nests, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families. This work ethic is shared by our best friends, canines who perform life-saving work every day. Dogs comfort returning veterans. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs are valuable in many ways. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. Notre Dame All-American linebacker Manti Te'o made 437 tackles during his stellar Notre Dame career. He led the team with 113 tackles in 2012, while also picking off 7 passes. That performance made Te'o one of the most decorated defensive players in Notre Dame history. Following the 2012 season, Manti was named a unanimous All-American and won the Lott Trophy, the Maxwell Award, the Chuck Bednarik Award, the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, the Lombardi Award, the Walter Camp Award, and the Butkus Award. He finished second in the Heisman Trophy balloting
to Texas A&M quarterback Johnny Manziel. The San Diego Chargers selected Teo in the 2013 NFL Draft. Manti played 4 seasons for the Chargers before moving on to the New Orleans Saints for the 2017 and 2018 seasons. In his 6 NFL seasons, Teo played in 59 games with 46 starts, making 313 tackles, including 214 solo tackles with 2 interceptions and 1.5 sacks. While still interested in signing with an NFL team, Teo is already involved in a number of business ventures off the field. Earlier this week, Brian Kelly had the chance to chat with the linebacker who helped Notre Dame get to the 2012 BCS title game.
How you doing, Manti?
I'm good. How you doing, Coach?
Good to see you, my friend. Are you just chilling, relaxing a little bit?
Just chilling, relaxing. Had some did my training earlier today, so
You're staying on top of it, aren't you?
yeah, got to.
So, are you healthy? I mean, I know, man, you got battered by some injuries.
Yeah.
How you doing health-wise?
I'm doing good. You know, as you said, you know, it was uncharted territory for me when I was at Notre Dame. You know,
Nothing.
I never missed a game.
I know.
And, came to the NFL and broke my foot.
Yep.
Did high ankle sprain and tore my Achilles, and so it's definitely been a learning experience and definitely an experience to grow from.
Yeah.
And I'm good. I'm grateful for it all. You know, good and bad.
Yeah.
Made me a better person, a better man. So it's good.
What's the process now? I know you're doing some things outside of football, but you still got to feel like maybe that appetite is still there to maybe get maybe one shot at it, one more shot.
Yeah, so that's the plan. To continue to train, to get ready, because I had a great ride with the Saints. My first year, led them to the playoffs.
Yep.
And I was playing my best football with them. And then last year didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So that's all part of the journey.
Yep, no doubt.
So right now, just staying ready.
Good.
Staying sharp, and yeah, it feels good.
Good. Now you live in San Diego. So what do you do now? Do you do? I mean, you got a degree from Notre Dame, so you got to be doing something else to kind of, maybe bring in a little bit of your talents. Now I would say, I haven't asked you this, but marketing, promotions, you got to be doing something like that, because you'd sell me anything right now. I'd buy.
Yeah. I'm currently in a few things. I'm in real estate.
Oh, okay.
That's really good for me.
Good.
I have a trucking company that I partnered with, and that's down in Texas in the oil fields, and so that's doing really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I have my hand in a few different buckets.
Good. Now, are you in commercial real estate or residential real estate?
I'm in both.
Oh, yeah?
Both. So I'm actually a partner and equity owner on 3 big projects down in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I got a few properties, single-family homes around the country. So it's
nice.
Good,
You are. I'll tell you what, diversification. That's the way to go, right there. Well, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about your legacy, because not only did you leave an incredible legacy as a football player, but as an ambassador for all of the Hawaiians and Polynesians that have followed you. I mean, you know how many we now have on our team. It is no longer singular. It is multiple. Right. And, I think that's got to be something you look back on, being a captain in an undefeated season and playing for a national championship. But opening up that door is got to be something that you feel great about, too.
Yeah, that's something that I can't take all the credit, because I wasn't there alone. With Robbie being there.
Robbie, sure.
And then shortly after, Kona was there.
Yep.
And so that pipeline was started. And even when I was there was a pipeline that was already established. It just wasn't an athletic one.
Right.
There was a lot of students from Hawaii that attended Notre Dame, and so I didn't know that. I felt like I was there on my own. And
right.
then I heard of a Hawaiian luau, and I'm like, there's no way that there's more people. And so I got to meet a lot of other students that were from the islands, and definitely watching the team now and seeing everybody there, it does give me a sense of pride to know that I was part of that.
Well, you're special. We're blessed that we were so fortunate that, and I was, to have the chance to get to know you and coach you, and you made me smart by making as many plays as you did, and then all the guys that you touched and the way you came back here, and your legacy is cemented here as somebody that not only played the game, but the man under the jersey is so much bigger than the guy that ran out on that field, and I think that says so much about you and who you are. So great catching up with you, man. If you don't play another down, and I hope you do, man, one of the most exciting football players that I've ever watched play, and the game that I'll never forget is that game against Oklahoma. You all over the field, and I remember Coach Stoops, after he retired just last year, saying, "I've never seen a guy play the way you played in that game," and I'll never forget that. So that memory is with me. So thanks for taking the time, my friend.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Take care. Bye.
That was Coach Kelly's conversation earlier this week with former Irish unanimous All-American Manti Te'o. I'll be back to wrap up this week's edition of The Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com, right after this final timeout.
We know you like football. So do we. We're TireRack.com, and this is our version of a 2-minute drill, except it's only 30 seconds. TireRack.com has an enormous selection of tires. Not sure which ones to buy? Use our Tire Decision Guide to find the right tires for your vehicle and the way you drive. Then get them shipped fast and free on all orders over $50. Shipping is in as little as 1 day. Free. TireRack.com ships to independent, recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Touchdown!
Gear up for game day weekend by joining the Gordon Food Service Store Tailgating Zone to get exclusive discounts on tailgating fags. You'll also be entered for a chance to win free Notre Dame tickets. Text GFS to 55678 to join today. New members will also receive a free thermal tote bag. It's easy. Just text GFS to 55678. Gordon Food Service Store is the official tailgating partner of Notre Dame Athletics.
If the worst brings out your best on the football field, that means that you tend to rise up in the face of adversity. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. A very nice quality for a football player to have. Also, a very nice quality for an insurance company to have. Because when something goes catastrophically wrong, we step up and make it right again. That's the silver lining. West Bend, the worst brings out our best. To find out more, visit thesilverlining.com.
At St. Joseph Health System, every hand held, every story told, every tear shed, smile shared, and spirit lifted stays in our hearts forever. We're blessed because every day we get to make a difference in people's lives. To learn more, visit sjmed.com. St. Joseph Health System. We are called to care for you.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Brian Kelly Show from the beautiful Irish Athletics Center. I'd like to thank our audio engineer, Bob Henning, producer Jared Stafford, and the entire FIM crew for all of their work getting the video aspects of this show planned and executed, the staff at Notre Dame Global Partnerships, and the director of Notre Dame Football Administration, Beth Rex, Football Media Relations Director Michael Scholl, and Assistant Athletics Director for Communication, Aaron Horvath, for all their help getting the show on the air each week. We will be back here next Thursday and the following Thursday. Only 2 shows left of the Brian Kelly Show. If you'd like to submit a question, just Google the Brian Kelly Show and follow the instructions that pop up on your screen. At least one lucky question submitter each week will win tickets to attend our show. So it's Notre Dame Duke Saturday night, kickoff at 7:35 on the ACC Network and the Notre Dame Football Radio Network. If you would like to watch the game, it is available on various providers, even in the South Bend area. Go to getaccn.com. That's getaccn.com. So once again, kickoff 7:35 p.m. at Duke on Saturday. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody, and go Irish.
This has been the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com, and is brought to you by Coca-Cola, Under Armour, Canon, Gatorade, Gordon Food Service, St. Joseph Health System, South Bend Orthopedic, Vivid Seats, and by West Bend Insurance. Also brought to you by Eddy Street Commons at Notre Dame and Gulfstream Coach.